What's up, you guys? Chet Guthrie, the Dream Poet here, coming to you all with a New Year's Eve 2022 special. Yes, you guys, we are finally on the cusp of New Year's. 2022 has been a rather interesting year. It started out interesting and it ended very interesting. But anyway, you guys, it's just me tonight. I figured, you know what? I feel like I don't talk enough about myself. Aside from doing like all the fun travels that I do, this is really just to, sit and reminisce and think about everything that has happened this year. Um, which, by the way, a lot has happened. My channel has grown exponentially, and I have you all to thank for that. Thank you all so much. Without you all, this would not be possible here on this platform. We're almost at 5,000 subscribers. That's pretty sweet. But anyway, you guys, tonight I figured, since it is the new year, I would talk to you all about some of the things about what I've done. I figured the first thing we would talk about my top 10 videos from 2022. From beginning to finish, or from beginning to end. Now, this doesn't include the ones from last year. There were a lot of good ones that did pretty darn well, but no, this is everything from this year, from the beginning of January of 2022 to these last few moments of 2022. Also, we will be taking a look at some of the mean comments that have come about throughout this entire year. I know there are a few trolls out there. Really, mean comments don't bother me that much. To be honest, I find it funny, but that's neither here nor there. And the final thing that is, we will look back on some of the memories that I've experienced on this channel and, well, everything in between. So without further ado, you guys, let's get to it. I have a very wonderful presentation, and my top 10, or my number 10 video for this year. Let me bring on to it. Kind of like Clark does. Clark W. Griswold from Christmas Vacation. This is my 10th video. Now, this is when my friend Ben and I went out to G Creek. It is a part of the Hiwassee-Ocoee State Park here in Tennessee, East Tennessee. And the really cool part about this state park is it does sit on the site of what used to be a ghost town. However, that ghost town has since been bulldozed, and it is, well, basically one big giant campground, if you want to know the history. But I feel like, well, since this was the very first video, ironically, this photo that I took would sum up what I believe was 2022 in a nutshell. In the foreground, you can see my friend Ben right around in there. And of course, there's me. What that was that I am under, I think it was a part of the mines, or I want to say like it's where they filtered everything out. But Ben had pointed it out to me when we were on that trail that day. And I said to him, you know what? I'm going to go and I'm going to walk under it. In these exact words, Ben said, Chet, you're crazy. I'm not going in there. I'm not crazy. So I went and I did it. The funny thing about this particular video is it was like 72 degrees outside that day. And honestly, the water was, it wasn't too cold. So we went in and we swam right there at the beginning of January. Now, I mean, you can find this video. I mean, it's hilarious, and I recommend it, especially if you want to go out to the Hiwassee-Ocoee State Parks. Now, one thing I did want to mention, if you want to say anything, ask any questions, I've got the comment bar. Let me know. I want to hear your questions. Just don't make it anything crazy. Now let's take a look at number 9, shall we? And number 9 is Charleston, Tennessee, under siege during the Civil War. Charleston, Tennessee, it is right next to Bradley County. And a lot of people don't know that this town has just as much Civil War history as Gettysburg or Chickamauga. And the reason being is General Sherman was staying in this town, and this house right here, that's the Henniger House. That's where the Unions, where their headquarters were. And there is a very famous picture that was commissioned by Alan Jones that is at the museum out there in Charleston. It shows General Sherman and his men standing outside of the house. It's a really beautiful photo. That house does date back to the days of the Civil War, and as well the days of the Cherokee. Now, I found this out when I was doing a Trail of Tears video for Red Clay, or at Red Clay, or on my way to Red Clay. I found out that Charleston, Tennessee, was actually the Cherokee side in early Bradley County. The American side was Calhoun. Very interesting thing to think. And when the removal process was going on, the federal government said, hey, if you want to declare your loyalty to the American government, you can, we'll give you free land, and you can live, with whatever you would want to do. Now, a lot of Cherokee, they did not agree with that, and it was just a very sad time. But Charleston, Tennessee, it's got a lot of Civil War history, Native American history, and as well, it's also got a really cool ghost story, the story of the monk. Like I said, if you're from the local area, it's just a really cool town to just drive around and check out for a few days. But now that we have said that, let's get on with I think it's number 8. Yes, it's number 8. Sorry, I had a brain fart. Let's get on with number 8. Now, I didn't really have any photos to show, but this is, of course, Ed and Lorraine Warren, two of the most famous ghost hunters of our time. And I did not know this until last year, that Ed and Lorraine Warren were, in fact, in Bradley County at one point. My friend Melissa Heiberger, her family were having an issue on Vista Drive. It was a very haunted house. As far as I've heard from other people online, it is still a very haunted house, and the current owners still see and hear stuff all the time. But I love the fact that this is such an obscure piece of Bradley County history from my hometown. It's like two of the greatest ghost hunters that have ever walked the face of the earth. Now, Melissa, she told me a lot more other stories associated with the Warrens and this land and the various portals on it. She told me, actually, she sent me a photo, but what it was her and I think it was her sisters were playing around in the nearby woods, and they had found a dog cut in half. One side of it was stuck on a pitchfork, and the other was, anyway, it was very bloody, very just pretty dark. But that's why maybe there was, or she still thinks that maybe there may have been some things in the occult going on. But anyway, this was a fun video to make, especially some of these places at Cleveland State Community College that the Warrens had been in. I had classes in as well, especially the big lecture hall with my history professor. Very, very fascinating stories. One day, I do hope that maybe Bradley County and Cleveland will kind of take up on this story, just because of the relations to Hollywood. And but all in all, I mean, it was just a fascinating story to tell, and I'm very glad that it got made. This is another video I recommend if you want, especially if you are from Bradley County and you want to learn something that's very, very interesting. This is the one right here. And I feel like I've said enough. It was just unreal to do this video. So without further ado, we are going to go to number 7. Yes, number 7. Let's get to it. By the way, again, I say if there's anything you want to ask, there's a comment bar. It's both live. Feel free to hit me up. I want to hear some questions from you guys. So on to number 7. Now, you are looking at an old school train tunnel. I think the line has been abandoned for several years now. Um, I did this video way back in gosh, it was probably in February. But how I had gotten to know about this train bridge is another vlogger. He goes by Expedition or Exploration Unknown. He and his friends went in there. They had a lot of ghostly activity. Allegedly, it is haunted. The urban legend surrounding this bridge is that during the days of like old school Knoxville, they hung all the worst prisoners, the worst of the worst, over the side railing. I If you watch the video, you will see that I do have my own K2 meter, and you will see that it does light up, and it should not be doing that, mainly because there's no electricity surrounding that entire tunnel. Now, what I did find out that was very interesting about this train tunnel is there's a road that sits right on top of it. It's a neighborhood. I'm surprised that this old school train tunnel hasn't collapsed yet. Because if you watch and you look, I mean, you can see where there's a lot of cracks in this old school train tunnel. Um, but probably, I know I get a lot of questions about where this one is at, just because, well, especially from those who live in Knoxville, or Knoxville, as some people would quote me. In Knoxville, it's like right behind the JFG building, or the JFG sign. So, I mean, if you want to have some fun, just be careful. I'm not sure if it is an abandoned line. If it is, check it out. If not, anyway. But I will say another cool thing about this is it was built right next to the asylum that Knoxville used to have. And supposedly there used to be a cellar door right beside the train tracks. And what would happen is when somebody from the asylum would die, they would load them up into the train and they would take them to the nearby morgue. Or so I've heard anyway. Kind of ghoulish. I wish I'd probably saved this one for my haunt season series. So, well, we're gonna get on to it, and we are gonna go on to number 6. Number 6, Clark W. Griswold. Sorry, I love that scene in the Christmas Vacation. Such a great movie series. Well, okay. Anyway, on to number 6. Yes, number 6. I filmed this one somewhere around in September, and no, I think it was maybe sometime in no, yeah, it was September. Sorry, I had a brain fart, but this is called the Enchantress. Now, the Enchantress, I had heard through the grapevine that this was a houseboat that had been converted to ferry people back and forth during the Knoxville World's Fair in 1982. And I went in there, I checked it out. It's a cool vlog. And I can clarify, yes, that's what it was used for. The interior of it, the leather. I mean, I just hate that the Enchantress, where it is at right now, the owner abandoned it and it's just been sitting there. I mean, I've kind of thought, you know what? What if I were to just take a hold of it and turn it into a small houseboat and live on it? I don't know. There were a lot of interesting things that I did find on it, like a lot of old school equipment. Gosh, it was just a fascinating thing to take the kayak out, float it over, and just get on it. I will say though, I came a little bit unprepared. There wasn't like a campground that was not far from it, but I was a little bit broke, so I ended up having to pay for parking. Had to borrow money from my sister, who cash apped me the money, might I add. and she still harps at me to pay that money. So I got to do it eventually. Um, so we're gonna get on with number 5. We are halfway through. Now this one, I didn't think it would blow up the way it did. I mean, honestly, throughout October and November, it was just very, very slow. And well, something I just couldn't figure out up until one of my videos that was similar to this one blew up. And we'll talk about that one later on tonight. But this is an abandoned caboose. It is out in Shelbyville, Tennessee. From what I could find out from it, or the history behind it, from my friend Dakota Blade Carmichael, he runs the old school history, or it's old school history project. Anyway, great guy, great vlogger. Also, runs a really really awesome podcast series. I think it is the Tennessee History Project or the Old School. Anyway, I'll post it in the description below. I mean, he was able to tell me a little bit of history about this caboose. From what I understood from him, it had belonged to the Walking Horse, or down the line, the Walking Horse line was a line that used to run from like Shelbyville to, I think it was far east, East Tennessee. But these two cabooses have just been sitting here probably since the 80s or the 90s. And I really hate that they have been destroyed that much. I mean, I guess really, if you all have watched the video, you all will have known that this is one of my dreams, or my dream house, if you can believe it. And that is to buy a caboose, soup it up, live in it. No, it sounds rather crazy, but in this day and age, when you can't really buy anything, or a house, I should say, or an apartment, why not just go with an old school caboose? It's kind of more awesome. If is the word is there such a thing as awesomer or awesome? In the comments, let me know. I think it's just awesome. But anyway, at one point I did get on to the main deck of the roof of the caboose. That was really really cool. I would have done it on the other one, but there wasn't any no trespassing signs. But at the same time, I just didn't want to risk it. Looked like somebody had been living in there, which I just hate that it's in the condition that it's in. I really really hate it. But now that we're on topic, I think we're gonna get into number 4 on this list for the best videos of 2022. I probably should have chosen a better photo, but this was actually last month that I filmed this. And here in the East Tennessee region, especially like northern Alabama, North Georgia, and western North Carolina, there is an old folklore, especially from the Cherokee. Well, predominantly from the Cherokee, but it was a mysterious race of. They didn't call them Native Americans. The Cherokee said that they were not Native Americans, but these people, they had fair skin. They were white, kind of like my white skin. Their eyes were glazed, glassy white, and they spoke a language that did not sound remotely similar to theirs. Now, um, there is a theory that actually this may have been, I can't remember his name, but he was a Prince of Wales, and he had come to America as a form of exploration. He loved it. He goes back to Wales. He takes 60 ships, more men, women, and they colonize what is, well, Mobile, Alabama. Fast forward about 100 years. I think it was about 40 actually. 40 to 100. There is a Welsh pastor who is trying to convert Cherokee and other Native Americans to Christ. But in the process, he finds himself in the clutches of this mysterious group of people. And he says, "Did I really work this hard just to die by these savages?" I think it was that. And next thing he knows, there is this very short man. He's white. He's got this really white beard. He's got these glassy white eyes. And he goes up to him and he says, "You shall not die today." And this mysterious gentleman, he says it in Gaelic, or Wales, I should say, or in Welsh. And that's why some people believe that this is what became of that group of colonists from Wales. However, that's just a story. But in what I did in this vlog, there is a stone effigy made out of soapstone, might I add, in North Carolina, Murphy, North Carolina. I forgot what part of North Carolina it was found in, but this giant effigy, which I will say probably stands right up to about my stomach, was found. But it is the interpretation of the Moon Eyed people. Some people believe that the Moon Eyed people were the ones who made that effigy. Now, to add on to that, not far in North Georgia, about maybe about an hour, hour and 10 minutes, there is another, it's Stone Fort State Park in Georgia. And on the top of this mountain, there is a fort made out of rocks. Nobody knows who made it. Nobody really knows where it came from. Although the Cherokee say they know who made it, and that was the Moon Eyed people. Now, I have heard from other sources since this video has come out that there are places where private properties where there are more stone forts. So, was it the Moon Eyed people? I don't quite know, but it makes you wonder. It's such a fascinating story. I might try to do a follow up video on this in the future, but especially if you are interested in Native American history and folklore, the story of the Moon Eyed people is something that has a lot of parallels and a lot of similarities that would make you say, that actually makes a lot of sense. But anyway, without further ado, we're going to get on to number 3. Yes, number 3. Now, this might not look like much, but if you all have watched my channel this long, and if you have been to the Dreammore Resort in Pigeon Forge, this piece of wood right here, that came from the first stage that Dolly Parton ever played on. And surprisingly, it's not from any show place, it's not from any concert hall or venue. This piece of wood came off her family's shack up in the mountains on Locust Ridge. The box right there, that's made out of chestnut, American chestnut. And supposedly Dolly Parton, when she turns 100, that box will get opened, and the song that she will play, I imagine only once, will be My Place in History. Now, this was like how I got the idea on how to look or go and look at some of these historical markers left by Dolly and not like by what everything that she has created in Sevierville. He's one of my favorite vloggers. I got the idea from him. But it was Days with Jordan the Lion, and he did a way better job than I could have ever done on my video. But ever since I saw that, I was like, you know what? I want to make a video because it's right in my backyard. And one of the things that I initially had planned, but I've never told anyone about this, is I wanted to take like a small climbing ladder, and I wanted to climb up it just so I could look over the fence and see everything that was there. I didn't do that. I respect Dolly Parton and the Parton family, although it was very tempting. When I was there looking at it, I don't know if it was just security or what, but it was somebody that came around in a four-wheeler, and they gave me a dirty look, and I just had to leave and just do what I could. Now, a cool thing about that is, no, not that, seeing what's at the old Parton site, is that I got to, gosh, I wish I could remember. Oh yes, I got to see. Ooh, anyway, one second. But anyhow, anyway, actually, there we go. Anyhow, anyway, oh darn it, what was I saying? Sorry, we had a little bit of a technical difficulties. Oh yes. Just a lot of fascinating history behind Dolly Parton. But it was a fun video to make, and gosh, what was I going to say? Other than I recommend that check it out. Well, don't check it out, but anyway, Dolly Parton, just an overall fascinating woman. But anyway, anyhow, we are going to get on with the next part of all this, and that will be, I think it was no, we are getting into the top two. Yes, these videos are, I'm very glad that I made them. They're doing extraordinarily well, and we'll get right to it. And this one right here, this one actually came out, gosh, this one came out back in November, and I really want, like, I had heard about this from somebody who had messaged me, and I exchanged some information. But out in the middle of nowhere in Scott County, on an abandoned railroad line, I think it was the same walking horse line that has been abandoned since the early 2000s. But out there in the mountains, there is it's about seven of them. It's about seven wrecked coal cars. Seven wrecked coal cars that have been there, I'm guessing, since 2009. The only thing that I could really find on it was that it was a derailment back in 2009. Now, I found it on WBIR's website, so I figured, I mean, it sounds about right. One of the things that kind of made me figure that it was it is that somebody, you could see, or I should say, you could see where somebody had cut into the aluminum framing of the cars. One of the things that really kind of got under a lot of people's skin, especially with ecological environments and whatnot, they gosh, I mean, they got frustrated that the railroad company, they poured out this coal next to the New River in Scott County. And I mean, it's coal, comes out of the ground, but with a river system like that, that's not good. I wish I could have found out a lot more since then. I mean, it has blown up quite a bit. Now, a lot of people have asked me, well, where's the location at, Chet? Where is it at? I want to go see it. And all I can really say is it is in nowhere. Like, it is out in the absolute middle of nowhere. It is an abandoned piece of railroad line that, if you've got friends, I recommend that somebody, or especially if you're into four-wheeling. I mean, it looks like, when I was there, it looks like it could be accessed through a four-wheeling track. That's probably one way to get into it. But all in all, there's about seven out there. And honestly, to this day, it's one of my favorite videos. It was really cool just to go out there and search for it. And I thank the friend of mine who shared the GPS coordinates with me. Um, but gosh, I mean, it's so unusual to see like these big, giant pieces of equipment that are just out there, just laying there. If you watch the video and look at some of the pictures that I post from this, you can see where it is absolutely destroyed. Like the metal is crushed. Um, but I can tell, it wasn't a pretty sight. Um, and I think this same piece of railroad line is where the train to nowhere is. Still, um, like I say, friends, fans, followers, if you want to talk to anything or ask questions, just hit me up, in the comment section. I always appreciate it. But anyway, you guys, this has been this was an absolutely fun vlog to make. I recommend it, especially if you like trains and train wrecks. It feels like something, that has remained untouched, or one of the very few like railroad pieces like this that is perfectly untouched. Nobody has touched it. I mean, it is fascinating, and I'm glad I had the opportunity and the privilege to film it. But without further ado, in this New Year's Eve special, let's get to number one. Now, number one is the reason how I was able to get monetized. Number one is also, is what got me, I guess is well, number one is really what got me monetized, what has, jump started my career here on this platform. And I love that y'all loved it. So without further ado, we are going to get on to number one of this top 10 video view, or this top 10 videos from 2022. And that is that allegedly an Egyptian temple was discovered in East Tennessee. Yes, I said that right. It sounds far-fetched, but if you look at the historical documents, this was fairly true. Back in I think it was about 1934, I believe it was, the federal government had created a organization called TVA, Tennessee Valley Authority. And because there was so much like flooding and so much constant wearing of the land, because of all this water floodage and whatever have you would want to call it, he TVA, they built one of their first dams, and it was called Norris Dam. However, before they build this dam, they do a survey of the land. Now, as they do a survey of the land, they find what they believe to be a temple. They don't know who built it. They just know the more they dig, they eventually find 100 by 100-foot track that was the foundation of a temple. I mean, it sounds crazy, but some of the lore behind this history is that the Cherokee called these group of people the Ani-Katani, which the Ani-Katani were a form of, well, I guess you could say Cherokee holy men, or that's what they would call themselves. For about several thousand years, they ruled over the Cherokee up until about 300 years ago. Before the arrival of settlers, the Cherokee defeated this mysterious group of people in an uprising. Some people believe them to be Egyptian. A long time ago, I think it was Cleopatra. It was Cleopatra and her son left after what had happened in Rome. I think it was Rome, in Egypt. Everything had fallen apart, and they had left. But I know it sounds crazy, but if you look at the historical documents that surround this mystery, you will find that there's a lot of truth to it. A lot of photos, a lot of artifacts. I mean, It's almost mind blowing, really. I actually know it's very mind blowing. But to explain a little bit more, that this was the video that got my career going on this platform on YouTube. Is I had originally gotten the idea from a somebody who had made a TikTok video on this exact same topic, and I was just fascinated to really learn a little bit more about it, other than just like a 1 minute TikTok. So I made the effort to go out and actually do my research on it. And the first day that I post it, sometimes I post to these Facebook groups. I had a lot of hate, and I had a lot of just a lot of positive feedback. And it was like these two forces that caused this video to blow up, essentially. It blew up, and next thing I know, when I'm with my friends in New Orleans, celebrating my 30th birthday, having a lot of fun, and next thing I know, I'm watching 1,000 views becomes 2,000 views, which becomes 3,000 views, which becomes 10,000 views, 60,000 views. And that night, my friends Bruce Jackson and my friend Zach Couch, we have to sit down and I have to figure out how to get monetization. Within the course of that entire month, I made quite a lot of money off of this. And, it really brings me back to it really brings me back to something that a friend of mine had learned in a quote, and it rings true to this day. They hate me today, but tomorrow they love me. Either way, I got paid. So anyway, thank you, Matt Maniac, for telling me that. It makes me feel good. I mean, I guess really, and that's another thing that I'm working on myself with is, just letting go of toxic people, people that are just very negative. And but that's neither here nor there. I'm building myself, and it's like I don't care what people think. At the end of the day, you got to do what you got to do to make ends meet. And in this situation, this video is a perfect example of that. I mean, I don't mean to sound conceited, but I don't think the word would be conceited. But if you've known me for a very long time, I'm generally not that kind of a person. But it always makes me happy when I see stuff like this go above and beyond. Oh, excuse me. 224,000 views later. That's something that absolutely is incredible. Um, I'm just glad that my dreams are coming true here on this platform. Not many people can say that. And I have you all to thank for that. That is what you all are, what makes this possible, this dream happen. The dream poet. Um, we are about 38 minutes away. Well, let me see. I guess really we are an hour and a half, hour and 20 minutes away from 2023. Now I figured I would probably go through all these photos. Like I say in the comments, tell me about what you think. Let me know what any comments about any videos that you liked when throughout this entire year. So, as another part of this series, throughout the history of this channel, I have had a lot of trolls, I guess you could say. A lot of people with mean comments, as I say, it's like sometimes actually most of the time I find them pretty funny. But yeah, I mean, it's one of those incredible things. It's like, can somebody really say that? That is the question. So anyway, guys, we will get to reading mean comments from 2022. Yes, we are getting into that part of this special. I can promise you all will laugh. Let's get to it. Okay, now this is one that happened most recently. And this was when I was doing a group podcast or a group interview and investigate paranormal investigation. Let me add that a paranormal investigation / interview with none other than Miranda Young, who is also a really good friend of mine. She also runs Ghost Biker Explorations. But anyway, this is a comment from someone, and this person says the K2 is picking up from me. Let me add me. The K2 is picking up an electrical field. To put it short, it's picking up the ghost field. The person who commented, Dream Poet, not the K2. I know what that is. It was all the legs shaking and belly flashing. Laugh, smiling face. And well, of course. Oh, that was pretty scary. That was me. I mean, I figure that always seems to make people smile. But actually, that was a really fun interview, despite the troll thing going on. I smiled at this one. Again, this fascinating people and extraordinary stories. This is a rather new part that's been going on for the last couple of months. It's getting pretty good feedback. It's just all these interesting people that I love talking to, and I give them opportunity to tell their stories because, hey, that's what makes people fascinating. There are a lot of fascinating and extraordinary people out there. So anyway, let's get on to the next mean comment. This was actually from when my friends and I had gone out to New Orleans. I had posted the video. We visited the grave of Marie Laveau. As many of you know, she is the voodoo queen. Very powerful lady. From what I've heard, historical sources, she was a very kind woman. But this comment came from a Facebook group that was from New Orleans. I haven't gone yet, but I want to smack that guy for pronouncing her name as Mary when the tour guide says her name Marie multiple times. Who is bankrolling the travels of these imbecilic druggy guys who made this video? Also, is there a GoFundMe to put a tomb or a statue by Cage's pyramid tomb stating that he's a jerk by disturbing the ancient beauty of the cemetery? I mean, I probably should have expected. Yeah, I mean, growing up, I always heard Marie's pronunciation of her name as Mary, but that is a fault that I've come to realize, and I have screwed up, but I have since made amends on that. I think when I posted this video, I made a crack that if you all go out to that particular cemetery where Marie Laveau is buried, you will also find the future tomb of Nicolas Cage, and it is a giant pyramid. However, you can make the crack that that's where there actually is something buried there in that tomb, that pyramid, and that is Nicolas Cage's career. Apparently, everybody in New Orleans loves that joke. But anyway, we'll read another mean comment. Now, this comes from like back when I used to do things like from way, way back when. It's just kind of one of the things that I've learned to talk about just a little bit better, a little bit more better narration than it is now. But can you speak more than 2 words at a time, please? Life is short. Somebody once told me that I sounded like William William Shatner, and how I was narrating my videos. But you tend to see the humorous side that comes out of negative comments. But let's get on with it. I know some of these aren't as bad as they could be, but they are really funny. Now, this is an example, like to me, I guess maybe I could see why, but at the same time, I'm not talking about anything like that. But it goes back to the same well, the same tunnel video that I had done previously. And this is what I said. Who all has heard of the hanging tunnel in Knoxville, Tennessee? Legend has it that the city used to hang prisoners over the edge. Remember, if you like the video, like and subscribe is appreciated. Still is to this day, I love you all very much. And for whatever reason, this guy decides to stay. But how many white people? Eh. None of it was about race. It's a ghost story and an urban legend. But for some reason, some people have to bring that kind of stuff in. Why? Why? But I mean, I further digress from this situation. I mean, it is what it is, and you see what people say. Let's get on to another one, shall we? Okay, now this one's actually kind of funny. Um, the dude doing the video needs someone else to do it. I watched for 4 minutes, but couldn't take it anymore. This is from earlier on. And this is how I usually used to comment back to my trolls. Thank you, Karen. Your opinion is greatly appreciated. And then this person says, That's awesome, chatty boy. I'm not the only one that laughed at this video. You sounded like you was drunk and deaf. Maybe next time, let someone that can speak do the video. Oh, what a jerk. But anyway, long story short, I'm sorry, Miss Karen. The manager is out at the moment. If you have a message at the beep, I will make sure he gets it, or I can give you the corporate number. If anybody's taking notes, this is the best way to troll or out troll your trolls. It makes people go away. Or, I mean, if they're just trying to cause a ruckus, just hit that block or hide their comments. It's just best. It's all about being professional, but it is what it is. Anyway, I think I got another one that'll make you laugh. It was just a simple, boring. And I said, Thank you, Karen. Your kind words are appreciated. And this guy, I mean, he just looks like just he looks like a troll. Like just by his profile photo. I mean, later on I got to know the guy was actually a really nice guy and he knew what he was talking about. But one day he just commented boring, and it's like, if you're gonna say anything, can you just say something nice? Dang. But I think we have one more. I think we do. Anyway, you guys, if y'all want to ask any questions, I do reiterate, there's comments. Just let me know what you all think. Okay, actually, this one is a little bit older, but it is extraordinarily funny. This video was stupid. It would not entice me at all. Everyone should skip this video and just take the tour. And as I responded, everyone is entitled to their opinions, Karen. Now, this was an older video, admittedly. I did this. It came from when I did the ghost tour at the Ripley's Believe It or Not Castle in St. Augustine, which, by the way, I do recommend the tour. It's not terribly long, but it is pretty fun, especially if you're into that kind of thing. It's just fun to check out. It is a relatively haunted building. Back in the 40s, if I'm not mistaken, the inn caught fire. It killed 2 women on the 4th floor, and for whatever reason, around the 4th floor, you will hear a woman scream, or sometimes you might see the image of or the visage of a woman running down the hall. She'll be there 1 minute and she'll be gone the next. It's pretty freaky. I'm not gonna lie. And this is probably the last one from this mean comments. Let me know if y'all want me to do this in the future. I mean, you tend to hear. I'm pretty sure I'll be hearing a few more funnier things as we go along. But this is the Naughty Cat Cafe, and someone, if I can get this slide to go away, it's like this guy says, "Chet Guthrie, you must not get out much." I thought it was cool. It's a cat cafe. You get to play with the kitties, but no, no, trolls got to come in and ruin it. Yay, yay! But now that we have talked about this part, looks like we are heading to the halfway point of this New Year's Eve holiday special. I'm having fun. I know it looks like y'all are having fun. Thank you all. I mean, I always appreciate when people watch this long. I hope you all get a good laugh out of me. But the next part of this special, I will be talking about just some of the good memories that I've had this entire year. The beginning of the year did not go as planned. I'd quit my job like oh, right at the last part of the year. I was working on getting a job. Well, I did get a job, I should say, with Take Five Oil Change. By the way, it's one of the most fun quick lube places you can ever work in. It's like no matter where I've gone, maybe with the exception of one store, it is like the entire crew will have you in stitches. It's always funny. Um, but going back to that, I felt like I was being almost run off this first place. But this was the year that I lost my truck. But I did get a new vehicle. A lot of things I learned, a lot of responsibilities I taken up on. And I feel like 2022, that's kind of been what's been for me anyway. I feel like, I've made a lot of improvements on myself, a lot of growth, and just being myself, never giving up and standing up for what I believe in. So, let's take a look back at some of these memories, shall we? As I was saying, this is the truck and this is what happened. This happened January 12th of this year, right as we're ending the last few moments of it. But it was right at the beginning of this year. I was filming a video on the Benton fireworks disaster. It killed like 12 people and it made national news. And again, it's right in my backyard. But after I'd gotten everything filmed, I get in my truck. I'm going down Welcome Valley Road, and next thing I know, I feel my wheel on my passenger side just completely grip, and it swerves out of control. Anyway, I almost hit a ditch. I pull back on the road as I'm going. I overcorrect myself, and I flip about 4 times, and thus causing the destruction of probably was one of the nicest, well, I won't say one of the nicest, but probably one of the most reliable vehicles I ever had. And to this day, I still miss my little Ford. It was a good truck. And almost in a way, I feel like, maybe if I had kept it, and maybe tried to work on it some, maybe I could still have it. Um, but I still remember that day very clearly. I rolled 4 times. If you look right there, my driver's side door completely crushed like a pancake, and obviously you can tell what happened to the top. My district manager at the time at Take Five, he said, "You know what, Chet, you got very lucky. If your head had been 6 inches closer to that frame, you would not be standing here." And Kyle was right in that regard. I'm very fortunate that I came out of it alive. I did have a piece of glass stuck in my head, And I feel like this wreck kind of changed me in a way. 'Cause up until that point, I'd kind of let people kind of kick me around more than I should have let them. And I won't say what had happened, but back in that November, I kind of had a bit of an issue, but I'll leave it at that. It was a personal issue. But all in all, I mean, I just remember paramedics coming, checking me out, making sure that I was okay. The only thing that really happened to me was having a piece of glass stuck in my head that I later pulled out and it gushed. Um, but I mean, if this hadn't happened to my truck, I probably would have never wound up with the vehicle that I have now, which that is the next photo. My new vehicle, my Kia. Now, some friends joke about why I got a Kia Soul. The reason why I got it at the time is it was very cost efficient. It had a lot of really good ratings on it, and the owners had taken really good care of it. And I like it. I love it to this point, to this day. Just a lot of oil changing and making sure that it just runs good. Um, Actually, just recently I came back from a road trip, and my Kia, she just handled everything every step of the way. I do like her. I do appreciate her. And anyway, by the way, I've got a lot of really cool vlogs coming or videos coming up to you all very soon. We're hitting January of 2023. We're hitting it with the ground running, I should say. But it's an awesome little vehicle, and I love her. Which, by the way, if y'all haven't checked my social media, I did get a logo in the back finally. That way, when I am in your town, you know who's there. The Dream Poet. So, let's get on with the next photo. Oh, excuse me. Now, I'm not sure if my friends are watching this right now. Bruce, Jackson, Zach, Couch, probably two of the biggest players in getting my YouTube channel to the way it is now. Bruce has kind of been a go-to guy. He's very business oriented and he's very tech savvy. In fact, he was oh darn it, what am I trying to say? He was very influential. It was the summer of 2018 when I started talking about doing my own YouTube channel. I had attempted the first round of it, but I just never made it. I mean, but still, he's my music guy. He's kind of my go to guy with tech. And now I want to talk about my friend Zach, a very good friend of mine. He is a very big influence, a very, very business minded person as well. Again, very tech savvy. He actually ran a YouTube channel here in Bradley County that had moderate success, but then kind of collapsed. It went by Zesty Bros Gaming, and if things hadn't have played out the way that it had, that channel would probably be about 4 or 5 times the size of my channel. But Zach is a very brilliant minded person when it comes to running this platform and running a channel. But I know I've said a lot, but I'm going to tell you all about where we are at and probably what is the greatest prank I have ever done to someone. You see, this was my birthday road trip. This was also my 1,000 subscriber special road trip. Anyhow, I did not tell them where we were going to be spending the first night in Louisiana. What I chose was the most haunted plantation in the entire state. I didn't tell them till right up and I made the intro. And if you watch that now, you will see the look on their faces. It is absolutely hilarious. Again, I recommend checking it out. The video is we stayed at a haunted or staying at a haunted plantation, and either way, I mean, when we had got there to the Myrtles, gosh, I mean, it was already an experience. They have a restaurant there. By the way, if you ever have a chance to go to like New Orleans or Louisiana, they have the best food in the entire world. Absolutely amazing. I mean, it's like you're eating a piece of heaven, and that's what their restaurant was. Really expensive, but totally worth it. Um, but I want to allude to what happened later on that night. Anyway, we did a tour of the house. Now, we were not allowed to film. If you go back and watch that video, you will see that I had to take pictures and voiceover. I don't like doing voiceovers, I like actually filming. But through that entire time, the look on Bruce's face is hilarious. See, earlier on in that day, Bruce was like, "Hey, Chet, where are we staying for the night?" And I'm like, "Bruce, do you want me to let you know?" He's like, "Oh, no." Well, actually, I'm telling that totally wrong. How it happened is I told Bruce, "Hey, do you want to find out where we're sleeping tonight, or do you want me to save it for you?" Bruce wanted to know a little bit about it. So I told him it's a plantation. Bruce says, Chet, I don't do plantations. And I look at it and I'm like, oh crap. I did not think this through. anyway, the three of us got a total laugh out of that. But anyway, anyhow, that night I went to bed totally peaceful, slept well, and Bruce and Zach, they're sleeping in the bed next to me. You see, Bruce and Zach wake up in the middle of the night. And Bruce says to Zach, "Hey, did you feel that?" And Zach's like, "Yeah, what?" Well, Bruce felt what seemed to be a child laying on his leg and jumping on the bed with him. Zach, who was sleeping right next to Bruce, he had a dream that a group of kids were playing on them. The next morning, we do a tour of the house, and that's when we find out that there is the spirit of a little girl that tends to go to every one of the cabins and the rooms and like around the entire plantation. And that's how we kind of figured out that the guys that were scared were the ones that got haunted. Well, I slept pretty well that night. It was pretty funny. I do recommend watching that series. It's that's really funny. But we'll get on. There's a lot more memories to this that are coming up. Now, this video did not do as well as I had hoped, but while we were in New Orleans in Louisiana, we decided to go on an airboat ride. And that's what we did. We rode around like all of the swamps in New Orleans, or what was just outside New Orleans. And the three of us, I mean, we couldn't hear anything, period. I mean, how loud some of those boats are. I mean, you can't hear a darn thing. I mean, you will just hear like the solid. Anyway, we saw a lot of alligators, which was, I mean, I had already seen a lot of alligators in Florida, but seeing a Louisiana alligator, by the way, it's the same species, it was pretty neat to get to experience it in a different state. We did go to the bayous, I can say that much. And this is just a hilarious. I mean, this kind of maybe sums up. Well, I wouldn't say maybe, but anyway, totally fun time. And now let's get into more photos. Now, this place I'd always wanted to go to ever since I found out about it. And what it was Fireworks are going off, everyone. People are already celebrating New Year's Eve. Sorry, I heard that in the background. I don't think that translated onto the computer, onto the laptop. But in Alberta Springs, Louisiana, there is a place called the Alberta Spring or the Alberta Mystery House, and it is one of the most incredible pieces of roadside attraction that is, I will say, has ever existed. It is so fascinating. Um, I do want to go again at some point. If you haven't seen the video already, do watch it. I can almost guarantee you once you see it, you will want to go out there. The owner has created what I think he called them bass fish or alligator fish. Um, a lot of dioramas. It is just such a cool place. Um, but actually, it was here in New Orleans that I got to meet a good friend of mine. Well, I wouldn't. Well, I would say. Well, I won't say good friend. He's a friend of mine that I have made as a result of going to New Orleans, and I'm pretty sure everybody from this location of the United States has heard of him. His name is Nola Deej. Now, Nola Deej, he has worked with other vloggers such as Adam the Woo or Jacob the Carpetbagger. Anyway, as I say, he's a friend of mine. And once I get down there to Louisiana and New Orleans again, oh, excuse me and him are going to do a lot of urbex. Something that, I mean, there's just so much of in New Orleans, and it is just a fascinating city. Like, you cannot see it all in one weekend. Um, but yeah, total fun. I don't have photos of what later played on, but some of the places we went to Bloody Mary's Voodoo Museum. Bloody Mary, super nice lady. Um, and I guess you could say, I mean, she's a friend of mine as well. One of these days, I really hope that I can get her here on the Fascinating People and Extraordinary Stories. But we also, my friends and I went to the Flooded House Museum, another really cool roadside attraction, which gives you an idea of what Katrina did to New Orleans. Like, if you go to this particular building, the museum, you will see that it looks like a totally perfect, totally normal house on the outside, but on the inside, it is totally destroyed, and it represents what I feel. New Orleans may be, on the up and up from what it was, gosh, like almost 20 years ago, but there are still a lot of underserved communities that even to this day are still suffering from that hurricane. It's really sad. I hate that, especially what some people have to go through. Now on this trip as well, one thing I do want to add, I did my first ever filming location video, and that was the iconic Coen Brothers film, "Oh Brother, Where Art Thou?" We drove to 4 different places in Mississippi to get these locations. Now, I mean, we could have tried to have done more, but we're on our way back to Tennessee at this point. We couldn't do it. We were tired, and I'm just glad we were fortunate enough to get at least 4 spots and 4 locations. It's a really cool video. I mean, and plus, I mean, "Oh Brother, Where Art Thou?" I mean, I feel, well, no, not I feel. My great grandfather who saw this video or saw that movie way back when it first came out. By the way, my great grandfather, my pop, has passed away back in 2013. But he would often say, if you want to know what the Great Depression was like in the Appalachian Mountains, which, by the way, I understand completely that that was Delta or the Mississippi Delta. Um, that's how life was like. And my nanny, my great grandmother, who passed away back in 1997, she often described the Great Depression as being something. They were already poor. They just got a little bit poorer. Um, if you want to know what life was like back then. Um, Now that I have talked, let's go on with the next, shall we? Okay. This is another really cool one. I made my first YouTube one of my first YouTube shorts out of this one. Like actually made one. And what this is an actual piece of Tiger King memorabilia. This came from Tiger King Park, and from what I understand, Jeff and Lauren Lowe, they were selling some of these old signs that they had in their closet, and from their Facebook page that they were using, I said, "Hey, can I buy it?" They're like, "Yeah, yeah, just $50," and I got it. And Jeff and Lauren, they signed it. Now I wanted them to put Carol F. and Baskins, or that beep Carol Baskins, but I guess I understand why they didn't do it, just because of legal reasons. But all in all, it is just so cool that I can say I have a piece of Tiger King. Now, gosh, I mean, I really wish I could have gotten more, but I mean, because they did have a lot more cooler stuff that actually had Joe Exotic's name on it and everything. But still, I mean, the original Tiger King documentary series was great. Like, I mean, it was funny. It was true. Well, I wouldn't say true. I mean, it was kind of like more or less one sided, but make, it'll make you laugh because these people were quite the characters. Actually, speaking of that, um, when I worked for Take Five Oil Change before I walked off and quit, my boss's wife actually volunteered for Joe Exotic's park and Doc Antle's park. This was all the way back in the '90s. I got to see the pictures. Apparently, both of them are extraordinarily nice guys. So I guess really don't believe what the documentary will tell you, because apparently these people they're just overall nice people. And God, I love Tiger King so much. It's so good. Let's go on to the next one. And I would probably say this is kind of the last one that I have photo wise. I do want to talk about my plans for 2023, but I figured, you know what, this is just a good enough photo to talk about. And gosh, and it's in the upper part of Tennessee, upper eastern part of Tennessee. I think it's not Blaine, Tennessee, but anyway, it is Backyard Terrors, and it is one of the coolest uh, backyard dinosaur parks that has ever been made. It makes Universal Studios look like a kid's game. I mean, the man who made all these, they look so lifelike and real. It's one of those things that I do suggest if you got a kid that loves dinosaurs, or have a family that just loves seeing the strange and the unusual here in East Tennessee, Backyard Terrors, go there hands down. I mean, it is so cool. I mean, I probably should have added it in my top 10 as an honorable mention, but I mean, to this day, I mean, it is just a cool place. Also, one of my favorite vloggers, Adam the Woo, and John from Exploration Unknown. I don't think that Adam the Woo has been there, but oh my god, it is so great. And I think this picture sums it up to a T. Yes. I miss that Hogwarts shirt. But now that we have talked about some of the stuff that I have done, looking back, mean comments, top 10 videos, I figured we'd probably spend the last 45 minutes talking about, or what I want to do with this channel. Now, probably starting January 3rd, you all will be getting a new videos. If y'all don't want to, or if y'all want to now, I do have my last Christmas staycation video that's out. Um, really cool. It's Nights of Lights in St. Augustine. Really, really cool place. It is. By the way, if y'all don't know, St. Augustine is one of the top 10 places to celebrate Christmas. Absolutely gorgeous. And in a way, I'd probably say it just reminds me so much of Rock City. But I actually don't know where Chattanooga or North Georgia would be on that list. Um, but going back to the plans I have, um, I just got back from a road trip. You all will be seeing a lot of those videos coming up very soon, January 3rd. A lot of them are really, really cool. I noticed a lot of you guys like the the stuff that is kind of obscure but strange and unusual and very cool at the same time. Um, be expectant of everything from January 3rd all the way to February 7th. You all are going to get a new, really interesting video along on that schedule that I've done probably about every day since my channel has grown to the length or the size that it is with y'all's help. But that is one thing that I do want to do. Um, why I've done that is I do want to do a second channel. If you have kept up with me since the beginning, you will know that before I focused solely on roadside attractions, history, true crime, anything in the realms of that, and that under that umbrella, I had an idea to do three different types of vlogs. One was doing what I'm doing now, Game Corner, and I forgot what the third one was. But Game Corner was a series where I would open up Pokemon card packs and Yu Gi Oh! As well. And at the time, I really didn't have the money to go for this vintage stuff, which is very expensive. But since my channel is growing the way it has, I'm going to take the risk. If you all who watch the stuff that I do that are interested in that kind of thing, like the video, let me know. I mean, I'm looking forward to actually getting to make that kind of content because I've been collecting Pokemon TCG and Yu Gi Oh! TCG since I was about 6 years old. And I've done nothing but collect, and I've got a lot of stories with that. So I'm really hoping that this takes off. I'm going to use. If you all have kept up, you all will know that I had another channel called the Guthrie Vlogs that just never really took off. It was my first attempt at a channel. What I'm going to do is I'm going to use that existing channel to do what I want to do. I will probably get rid of the videos that are on there, but then again, I mean, I might keep them. I might playlist them. I don't know yet. Um, I guess that's just one of those things that I'm not entirely sure about. Um, but it is what it is, though. You just got to keep going and keep plugging away. Um, But in as of this year, my own personal goals, my New Year's resolution, or resolutions, I should say. By the way, if you all have a New Year's resolution, in the comments below, comment. Let me know what your New Year's resolution is. My first real one is I put on some weight, as you all can tell. It's not from eating, it's actually from medication, just from personal stuff that I've been dealing with. Personal health. I really want to go and work and see if I can't bring this down. Be a bit more healthier than I was like when I began this channel back in, or I should say, really started building back in 2019. That's going to be my next goal. That's going to be my big resolution, my big New Year's resolution. My second one, I want to be an extra in at least 3 films. Cleveland, Tennessee, and Bradley County, they are right outside Atlanta, and I want to take that opportunity while I can and see what I can do with it. See if I can't, have some acting potential. They say, if you're in for acting, for fame or being a celebrity, you shouldn't be in it. Um, but for me, I genuinely am interested in how that particular side of video production works. What does it take? I mean, I've read books on it, and put it I'd like to put it to the test. I'd like to put it and see if I can't make it happen. Um, Another thing is I really want to get back into writing. This is another resolution. I haven't written much of anything probably since I started making this YouTube channel the main priority of my life. And there is a whistler going on outside. Sorry, there's a lot of fireworks going on outside out of the side of my father's. I should say outside of my front window, but it goes boom boom. Not sure if that picks up there. But getting back to what I was saying, I do want to get back into writing. If you've seen my older vlogs, I worked on a book. It's done. It's been done. But I want to put it through one more edit before I start sending it everywhere. My poetry as an incentive to get back and just like start like writing again. I want to do what I've always said I wanted to do. I want to submit it to publishers. There is a book out there that has like an entire encyclopedia of poetry contests, poetry publications, short story publications. 2023, I really want to hit up on that. And this is another thing that I want to do. Right now, I don't really like my day job all that much. I mean, I love the people, a lot of the people I like, but I mean, I went to college, and I mean, some days it just makes me feel sad that, I'm not doing with anything with my journalism. Well, I take that back. I am doing a lot of stuff with my journalism degree in the unconventional sense. Um, but I would like to go be what they call a seasonal interpretive ranger for the Tennessee State Park Service. If the state likes me enough, I can take that and I can get a free class and keep taking those last 2 classes I need to get my forestry degree and just have that second degree. It ended not so great back in 2018, but I think if that passion, that desire to strive and be something better, what other or to be something that creates something that out of thin air. I don't want to sound like a pompous jerk, but at the end of the day, it's like I had the passion to create something that nobody else could take away from me that I built out of nothing. Um, but either or, I guess what I'm saying is about probably about 5 years ago, I was failed 3 days after I walked at the University of Tennessee. And, for a while there, it has really bothered me. But, I mean, some people I think of it as being some kind of grudge. But reason why I don't sit well, anyway, that's another personal reason for another day. Thank you all for watching my videos. Always makes me feel happy that y'all watch, y'all care, y'all love what I do. Trying to think of what else I wanted to talk about. I know we are 36 minutes away from the new year. Very exciting, very great. All in all, I guess if I am looking back on 2022, it was a year of growth. I got a lot of stuff done. I'm proud of it. and I've continued to keep pushing. And with y'all's help, I am almost at the threshold at 5,000. And I really have no one else to thank but you guys. You all are the reason why we are here. Um, Now, I do, like, I guess in 2023, I do want to do more collaborations. If you all have watched, I have worked with Andy's Journeys. He is a vlogger from the Chattanooga area, great guy, super nice individual. Then, of course, you all know Mr. Nomad Ben. Mr. Nomad Ben, he's a character. He keeps me going, and I keep him going. And by the way, he's 50 subscribers away from hitting his first 1,000, so he's hitting it and he's doing good. Another person I've gotten to know as an acquaintance, haven't really worked with him yet. Adventures with Moon Man, super nice guy. Um, what he does kind of harkens back to the original Adam, what Adam the Woo used to do, like back in the early days, but better than. But well, y'all know what I'm talking about. Anyway, Moon Man, super talented guy. And then you have another group that I want to work with, the Famous Five Amos. Again, they are from the Chattanooga area, and my buddy Nola Deej. At least we not forget Dakota Carmichael. So yeah, 2023 is going to be a fun year. We're gonna do some fun stuff. Um, Other than that, if y'all want to say anything, let me know. Otherwise, I think I'm probably going to keep talking until we hit the new year here in about 34 minutes. Who knows? Maybe I'll just sit and I'll watch. I don't know yet. Um, all in all, I'm trying to think of some of the crazier things that has happened this year. Um, Aside from doing YouTube. I honestly, actually, I haven't really talked about this much. I meant to, but I didn't really. But I did try to do a ghost tour here in my hometown of Bradley County. I did do one group that actually did pretty decent, but kind of hate that it fizzled out. It's something I want to see if I can't do in the future. It's one of those things that I guess eventually I just have to probably just have to put it on the back burner, to be honest. Um, but yeah, thank you all for helping me come this far in my journey. Again, I have no one else to thank but you guys. And yeah, thank you all. Now, I did say that I was going to make this a 2 hour long special, but I think I'm going to get off now and I'm going to watch 2022 end and watch 2023 begin. Remember, you guys, I love you all very much. Always make sure to like and subscribe. Always means a lot. Goes to show that y'all care, and that y'all want to see more awesome videos. And without further ado, you guys, I think this is going to be the end, the very last video of 2022. Y'all have a good one. Happy New Year, you guys. Stay safe. Love y'all very much.